Because you cannot survive doing something you hate. It will eventually get you. They say that 80% of the people who die from heart trouble die on Monday mornings between 7 and 9. 80%. Did you see that in the front newspaper story last year? They did a study right here in America, and they discovered 80% of those who die from cardiovascular problems, heart trouble, hypertension, stroke, they die on Monday mornings. 80%. Between 7 and 9 o'clock a.m. And they discovered why. They assumed that this happens because at that particular period of the week and day is the highest level of stress. Because people are preparing to go to a place they hate. They call it work. Don't hold your hands up, I know you're there. Nothing can make you live longer than doing something you enjoy. Something you do that you ain't got to get paid for. It is health in itself. You see, Job had it right. He says, God has set limits that you cannot exceed. That means you cannot improve on God's destiny for your life. Please write that down. You cannot substitute for what you was born to do. There is nothing you can do to make yourself satisfied except to do that which you was created to do. Anything less or more is trouble, is called excess. Job goes on to say in verse 6, so look away from him, speaking of man, and let him alone, God. Read the next line. Until he has put in his time like a hired man. You got to listen to me carefully tonight. Job says you came to earth to put in time. Job began to understand that no human being is haphazard. You didn't arrive here because God wanted to experiment with somebody. No, you came here because there was something God needed done that required you. In other words, you are necessary. Say that with me. I am necessary to planet Earth. Come on, say it loud. I am necessary to planet Earth. Hit your neighbor with your elbow. Tell him, did you hear what I say? Tell him, I am necessary for planet Earth. Tell your neighbor, you need me. You don't know it yet, but I'm carrying something you need. Clap your hand if you understand what I'm talking about. Job is right. Job says, you put us here to put in our time. What a word. Now, I want to take you a little deeper into this life without destiny, existence without purpose, living without meaning. Look at the book of sarcasm. Oh, you didn't know there was a book in the Bible called the book of sarcasm? The book of sarcasm is the book of Ecclesiastes. Please turn there. Ecclesiastes was written by the politician who reigned as king, who had a very smart father. And this young man learned a lot from his daddy. And he learned so well from his father that when God asked him what he wanted, he didn't ask for money, wealth, and riches. He asked for wisdom. He wrote this document, and remember now, the book of Ecclesiastes is a dangerous book to read. Why? Because the book is a book that was written to show the futility of man's life without God. So it's a sarcastic book. It actually teases men. Now I'm going to show you very quickly the entire book of Ecclesiastes. You want to go through it? Watch this. It deals with life without purpose. That's what the book deals with. What man is like without destiny. If a man has no sense of destiny in his life, this is what he is like. And everything is covered here. Whether you lived 6,000 years ago, or you live today in the 90s, or you're headed for the next 21st century, whatever you think of, everything is in the book. As a matter of fact, you can't do anything that's not already in Ecclesiastes. It's a powerful book. It starts off chapter 1. If you have a good Bible, I'm reading from the New International Version, you will see that there are topics to each passage. Now I want you to check the topics at each passage. Don't look at the numbers, look at the topics. The first one is, everything is meaningless. And he goes on to describe life. Remember I told you that life without purpose is nothing. Nothing makes sense if you don't have any destiny. Well, here's what he's talking about. Verse 2, meaningless, meaningless, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What does a man gain from all of his work, going to work every morning, every night? Sun rises, sun sets, generations come and generations go, and the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets, hurries back to where it rises, the wind blows to the south and the north, and around it goes, ever turning on its course. All the streams flow from the sea, and the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, they return again. That's by convectional rainfall. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing. Is that true? Yes. The ear is not full of hearing. That's true. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? Oh, it was here already long time ago, brother. It was here before your time. There is no remembrance of those who are old, and even those who are yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow. That's a depressing chapter. He's saying no matter what you do, if you don't have a purpose and a destiny, all you've done is nothing. Now look at the next heading. Wisdom is meaningless. Okay, he first says all of life is nothing without purpose. Then he says, for example, if you go for wisdom, if you go to college and get all the degrees you can, PhD, BA, MA, DD, MDiv, DDDDD, but all you get, he said, if you don't know why you were born, you still have nothing. And some of you know what I'm talking about. You what I call intellectual fools. Intelligent fools. People who got all kind of degrees but no sense. You know them. I mean smart, stupid people. They got PhDs, but their marriage can't work. The knowledge can't help the children. The children are on drugs, and they got PhDs. He goes on to say, wisdom is meaningless. Verse 12, I devoted myself, verse 13, to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What heavy burden God has laid on men. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless or chasing after the wind. Verse 16, look, I have grown and increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before. I have experienced much more wisdom and knowledge and education. Then I applied myself to understand wisdom of the ancients and all that deep stuff, all the poetry, all the philosophy he's talking about, and also of the madness and the folly. I learned that this too is meaningless, chasing after the wind. Chapter 2, look at the heading, pleasures without meaning. Oh, I like this one. He says, I will test you with pleasure, come, to find out what is good. That also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is foolish. And what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with alcohol, liquor, drugs, barbiturates, cocaine, sniff, sniff. He said, I tried all the stuff you tried, and I still had no meaning to my life. Look at verse 4. Now some of you could put your name in this one. I undertook great projects, built great businesses, invested in great CDs, amassed great wealth, I built houses and condominiums for myself. I planted vineyards and had a farm and had a garden. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs of water with fountains and groves and flourishing trees. I bought male and female servants, slaves. That means staff members, people working for me. He said, I had that. I also owned more herds and flock. That means my investments were prosperous. I had money in the bank, and I bought all kinds of investments in different companies. He said, I had it all. I acquired men and women singers. That means I bought CDs and tapes. I had all the music I wanted in my house. I had everything, he said. I delighted in my heart. Verse 9, I became greater, more famous than anyone in my city. Before me and all my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing I saw in the shopping mall. That's what he's talking about. I refused my heart no pleasure. There it is. He said I could buy anything I wanted, and yet life was rotten. Read on. My heart took delight in all of my works. I was proud. Look what I did. See what I built? Check that out. Isn't that great? That's my home. That's my ministry. That's my ministry. That's my business. Check that out. See that car? That's mine. He said, I was proud of what I did. And everything was meaningless. What a horrible thing. Nothing was gained under the sun. Next title. Wisdom and folly are meaningless.